I titled this stream, There's Something Wrong With Us. Because there really is. There really is something wrong with us. All right, let me pull this up for you. We all saw what happened at the Oscars last night, right? I can't show you, I'm not gonna play the clip just in case Boomer Media is going to try and like take my video down or something, which isn't something I care about dealing with. So instead I'll show you just a couple of frames, just so we know what we know what we're all talking about, okay? So last night was the Oscars, which is apparently some show where a bunch of rich people congratulate themselves for being rich, and acting, I guess, whatever. And Chris Rock, which is someone I don't care about, was making fun of other people that I don't care about, which happened to be Will Smith and his supposed wife. But in the course of that, Chris Rock told a joke that Will Smith didn't like. He said something along the lines of Jada, and apparently Jada's dealing with alopecia. And if you didn't know what alopecia is, it's a form of baldness. It's like a you just start shedding hair. Nothing you can really do about it. It's an incredibly strong form of baldness. It's not something that can be taken care of with like Rogaine or something, or minoxidil, which is like the active ingredient in Rogaine. You can't take care of it with that. It's like a genetic thing. You're gonna drop your hair, period, right? And so she shaved her head. She was bald, basically, low shave. Okay, and he basically said, G.I. Jane, I can't wait for the next movie, which is apparently a movie about some lady who has a shaved head. Okay, when that happened, Will Smith, he got incredibly upset, and he got so upset he decided to walk up on stage even and slap Chris Rock. Just hit him. Just an open hand slap. Just slapped him across the face. No warning whatsoever. Just hit him. And then walked away, went back to his seat, screamed about how he should keep his wife's name out of his mouth. All right. And here's the thing. All right. When I saw this, I was like, that seems like an issue. I can 100% understand someone making fun of your partner. For me personally, my mom has been fighting breast cancer. Okay, so I completely understand what that's like. Jada isn't fighting like a life-threatening disease. But still, when it comes to Black women specifically, for people who are clowned on, that's a very big thing. I can 100% understand someone being upset at that. Upset to the level that you need to go up and hit someone is the issue that I have the problem with, okay? Because last night there were a lot of people making a lot of jokes and memes, and honestly, I thought it was pretty funny too for a little while, until I spent a little bit of time thinking about it. And then the more I thought about it, the more I thought it was an issue. And then the more I thought about it and everything surrounding it, the more upset that I just got. This is not okay. And everybody defending this is a massive issue. And it shows a massive problem in our society. You shouldn't be going up and hitting people. And I'm not saying this from the standpoint of, I'm like peace and love forever, peace and love, never hit anybody. Oh, it's so bad. Oh, my feelings are hurt. That's not what I'm talking about. This sets such a horrible example for everyone in society, especially men. It perpetuates a system of violence from an incredibly powerful, incredibly influential person that will only end up making our society worse. And it was supported by so many people. And honestly, I think the Academy or whatever, that's who does this, right? The Academy helped perpetuate this. He was allowed to go on stage. He was allowed to sit down. He was allowed to go to the after party and everything. He was allowed to get his award. He was allowed to do everything. And you know what the Academy's condemnation for that was? This. The Academy does not condone violence in any form. Tonight we'll be delighted to celebrate our 94th anniversary of the Academy. And then it just goes on. Just in the same tweet. Just goes on to do this. Who cares? Thank you for telling me you don't care about women. Thanks for letting me know. I appreciate that. Let's talk about some of these, okay? You just got to witness in real time what happens in a man's soul when he looks over to the woman he loves and sees her holding back tears from a little joke at her expense. This is what any and every real man feels in that instance. Y'all seeing is a joke, he's seeing her pain. It's good that he said something, all right? It's good that he said something. It's good that he like stood up and wanted to say something on behalf of his wife if she genuinely felt pain off of that. 100%. Here's the thing that's so nasty and insidious about this is that she's going to sit up here and say, this is what real men do. This is what real men do, okay? And said that this is like protecting her. Look at this for a moment. This act that he did, this slap did not protect his wife. This slap did not protect anybody in that room. from the joke that Chris Rock told from 50 feet away up on the stage. If he wanted to protect his wife, he would have been able to stand up and say something when he got his award, or when, or he could have gone up on stage and taken the mic and said something about the harm that this causes. This is not protecting his woman. You know what this is? I will agree that this is a slap in defense, but not in defense of Jada or his marriage or his relationship. This is a defense of his own masculinity. That's what this is. This is a defense because he's scared, because he's sad, because he's afraid, because he feels bad. He feels emasculated. He feels like he's being disrespected. And so when you take, and here's, the only thing that he's protecting here is his own ego. We can talk about that. This form of violence, just period, is not good. And it's not just because it's bad in bad in bad sake. Someone who needs to resort to violence when they feel threatened is someone who's just more dangerous. Period. Okay? And while I may not, and I'm going to be talking about women specifically who take the brunt end of this, but this hurts everybody. And while I may not be a woman myself, I personally have some stake in the game. Okay? I have a sister. I have women friends. Okay? And I know that when they go out there, there are going to be guys out there who resort to violence when they feel threatened. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. This happens. You know some of them. You may be one of them if you're listening to this right now. If you don't see how dangerous it is for a guy to, if you're like a woman or something, and you're sitting down and you're at a date and he's like, oh yeah, if anybody would ever to disrespect you, I'd 100% go out there and beat the shit out of them. If that doesn't ring alarm bells in your head, consider yourself lucky in this instance, because the people who do that don't leave this just here. All right. That never goes externally. Never fool yourself into believing that this only goes externally, or it's only for them. All right. Because I've seen so many, we've talked about women's rights. This is a big one of women's wrongs. Okay. Because women love to cheer this shit on. They think it's so cute. And there have been so many people who cheer this on because we've all fooled ourselves into romanticizing violence in the defense of like someone's honor. Either your own honor or like your girl's honor or something. As being something so noble, as something that we should all do. You may be looking at me and you may be shark. That's just a normal response. That's the problem, is that this is normal. That's what's wrong with our society, is that this is normal. That shouldn't be normal. You know what else is normal? Domestic abuse. And you can't tell me for a second that this doesn't feed into this. Not for a moment. How many domestic abuse cases do you think happen and are predicated off of a guy feeling emasculated, feeling hurt, feeling embarrassed by his girl or like his family or something, and so he beats them for it? I don't know the number off the top of my head. I do know it's way too many. I do know that's an incredibly reoccurring theme when this happens. We talked about it before. This is basically just weaponized gender dysphoria. When you take away everything from someone, and this happens a lot with a lot of poor guys specifically, when they have no standing, where social standing or economic standing, where they don't know what to do or where to go in their life. We take away everything from them. But you know what they still have? These. They still have these, don't they? And they can turn them into fists. They can hold guns with them. They can hold weapons in them. They can do all of this sort of stuff to feel like they can, and then they engage in actions to reclaim some of that, to that lashing out that they do, to reclaim some of that masculinity, to reclaim some of that humanity that they feel like that's been taken from them. They do it all the time. And what message does this send for those guys out there? Let's just think about this for a moment. What message does this send to those guys out there who are sitting there and they're thinking, man, it's so fucked up. Man, I can never, like, girls don't want to love me. Girls don't want to do anything. Girls don't want to do this and that. What am I going to do? What do you think that a guy like that is going to do when he logs onto Twitter and sees a man, very powerful man, very influential, very, very loved, someone like Will Smith, going out there after being offended and committing an act of violence to defend his honor? And you know what happens? You'll have all these women out there saying, oh my gosh, look, what a man. Whoa, I need myself a man like that. Oh man, I need someone to fight for me like that. No, you don't. That's ridiculous. The same, I'm going to tell you this now. All of the guys listening to this, all right? Any single girl out there who's sitting there and they're like, oh man, this is so, I wish I had a guy like that for me. Run. Don't ever date any of those women. Those are the type of women who are going to push you to be in fights to go get yourself hurt or worse. to try and like defend their honor just because it's so cute. They're like the type of chicks who will go out there and be like, oh, I'd love me a gangster boyfriend who I can be like, no, Jeremy, this is not you. No, this isn't, don't get it, babe, look at me, babe. It's disgusting. Like it's all funny and fun and games and everything, but it's gross and it's weird. And it teaches guys that when they are hurt, what do? You start swinging. That's what you do. You take back that little bit of masculinity you can by just beating the shit out of people, anybody around you. Instead of talking to people, instead of wanting to deal with people like we do in a civilized society, what you want to do is lash out, because that's the manly thing to do. That's what makes you so strong. All right. And these girls love to play it. Lots of girls love to play into it. They love to play into it. It's so good. My pussy dripping because of this. I love a guy who would do this. Go take him. All right. Go take him. At least that's going to save another woman or somebody else from knowing what from not knowing what they're going to get into. All right. Oh, they'll just hit them, not me. No, you dumb bitch. He's not going to hit you right now. Don't worry. Your turn's coming. That's how it works. Anybody who's been in a relationship with someone like that can tell you that now. Your turn is coming. All you have to do is be in the wrong place, say the wrong thing at the right time, and your turn's coming. It's ridiculous. Those defending Will Smith, as you should, please keep that same energy for the countless black women, transgender people, and others who are often harassed and humiliated in the name of jokes. I remember so many people coming out and clowning on all those trans people for standing up for themselves when Dave Chappelle was cracking jokes at their expense. Not even just cracking jokes, just absolutely trying to make them out to be genuine racist monsters, trying to destroy his livelihood. Cancel culture. Even his son came out, Jaden Smith, and that's how we do it. Yeehaw, that's how we do it. 1 million likes in less than a day. 1 million likes. Probably the nastiest thing to me is when we talk about is when they try and bring up black women. Where is this? Will Smith said not today. A man big enough to absolutely floor him slapped him softly. That Chris barely moved because he made fun of his wife's alopecia on the world stage. Don't say protect black women for 2 years, then only condemn Will here. Come on. And then they pull up a Malcolm X quote. The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. You're not protecting black women by doing this. You telling all of these black guys that when you're disrespected, when you're hurt, when you're scared, when you have a problem, that you need to resort to violence, that's the manly thing to do. That's the hot thing to do. That's what a man does. A real man, Minaj put it, a real man. You want to be a real man, don't you? That's what a real man does. That's how they protect black women. This will come back to hurt black women. This will come back to hurt all women at the end of the day. It'll come back to hurt men too. We ask ourselves, we wonder why men always decide to choose violence when it comes to problems that they have. That why they end up in jail so much more than women. That why they end up committing homicide more than women. That why they do so much more domestic violence because of women. Because why they do all of this? Well, here's a reason why. Not only is it something that's seen as okay, but it's genuinely praised. You are praised. You are heralded. You are a real man. You are someone to look up to. You are a protector. And anybody who said anything along the lines of instead of hitting him, you should just say something about it, stand up, make a speech about protecting people, make a speech about how this could be, I guess if you want to call it ableism or whatever. If you want to do any of that, you could do that. He decided he didn't want to. He decided he wanted to hit him. That's the example that he wants to send to all men around not only the country, but the world. And black women are going to be the ones who are at the brunt of that. What happens if there's like a cheating scandal or something, or someone's the woman's like accused of cheating, or she makes him like look bad in public, or or he gets embarrassed. You think this is an example of something that leads to less domestic abuse of black women? The people in the country who are who are one of the most susceptible groups, if not the most susceptible group to spousal abuse. You think this helps? I don't think so personally. I saw T1J or whatever his name is make a tweet earlier to be like, I'm really against toxic masculinity unless it's in defense of black women. He didn't defend her from anything. He made the country a more dangerous place for black women. And there is no arguing against that. Hey, you, out, go, out, go, out. Things like toxic masculinity are pervasive, and it hurts men dearly. I can't possibly imagine someone being like, this is, well, my bad. I'm sorry. I want to say that I can't possibly imagine people defending this. I can, because that's what our society does. It's a big problem. And I'd like to say that, and I'd like to say that this was like gone, that we could like move past this a little bit, but no, that this is real. This is the country that we live in. And then people will be throwing names around like conservatives do with like MLK. They'll pull up this Malcolm X quote to say that this is a genuine defense by resorting to violence, and teaching these men, especially men growing up, that when you are distressed, when you are hurt, when you are embarrassed, when you need to defend your honor, you need to start swinging. It's ridiculous to think that black women won't be on the other end of that. Will Smith decided to release an apology about an hour ago. Violence in all forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior in last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are part of the job, but a joke at Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally, which is exactly what I saw personally. This is 100% an emotional reaction. This is not some sort of brave man standing up and in defense of his family. This is a sad, scared man who didn't know what else to do besides to use his hands as a quick and easy method to get one over on someone who felt like he slighted him. I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I am embarrassed at my actions. And my actions were indicative of a man. My bad. And my actions were not indicative of a man that I want to be. There is no place for violence in the world and of love and kindness. I would like to also apologize to the Academy, the producers of the show, all the attendees, and everyone watching around the world. I would like to apologize to the Williams family and the King Richards family. I deeply regret my behavior. Has stained what has been an otherwise gorgeous journey for you all. All in all, I think it's a perfectly fine apology, personally. I mean, it's not like he killed him. I don't know, man. I just think that this is so gross to think that this is something that that this is something to be defended. That on top of the fact that now Jade has been thrown into the mix more. If you didn't know that, now Jade has been thrown into the mix more. Okay. Now everybody is saying that this is, because this, once again, this comes back on the women. This comes back on the women again, that people are going to be like, oh, obviously, what happened is that Jada cucked him by fucking his son's best friends, and forced him to be in an open relationship, and so now he's cucked, and he's sad, and now he's lashing out because he's a sad, destroyed man whose career is destroyed, whose wife makes fun of him, who had suicidal thoughts, but unfortunately for his mental state is still here. And that's what's happening now. The women at the end of this one, once again, when you're in like the relationship, they're the ones who's to blame. Like, why didn't the woman stand up? Or was the woman pushing this? Like, she's controlling him, like she's the puppeteer. And she's now the one that's going to be thrown in the mix. And she's now the one that's going to be blamed. You didn't protect your woman from anything. You made it worse. Congratulations. They're the one that a lot of the times they're the one that gets the blame. Not only are they the ones that get beat a lot of the times, but they'll be the ones that get blamed for their spouses beating people up in the first place. I don't know what Jada wanted, and honestly, I don't care. I didn't know of her existence until earlier today. Shouldn't make a joke about his woman's hair. Cool. Don't hit people. He could have easily done his Oscar speech and made it even stronger, and that would have been a big thing for the night. You're overthinking this? I'm not overthinking this. When you have hundreds of thousands of people saying that when you get upset, hitting someone is the masculine, that is the strong, that is the best way to deal with your issue. That's how people are going to take it. That's how guys are going to take that. In the state of flux that masculinity is in right now, like how guys latch on to the media right now, and for all of these women to be coming out and saying that it's so hot that he decided to do that. Oh, absolutely, they're going to act more like that. Absolutely, they're going to be like, oh, it's time. You said something. Like, we got to get into a fight. We got to get into a brawl. That's how it works. Them fighting words. Get their ass stabbed, shot, thrown in jail, get charges. We just looked at the tweets. You mean like Will Smith's son with the 1 million like tweet from less than a day ago who said that that's how we do it. Probably like the strongest praise for your actions that you can get from like a family member. 1 million likes in less than a day. That's his son, dude. Okay. Thanks for reminding me. He was comforted after assaulting someone on TV. See, the thing is, I'm not sure if they were comforting him because like there were some other actors who walked up and to talk to them. I'm not sure if they were comforting him to like to praise him or comforting him as to like calm him down so he doesn't start hitting more people. This is not someone who needs praise for this action. This is someone who needs therapy. You know what? This really reminds me of this 100% reminds me of fucking of the day of the Kanye West and Pete Davidson issue that was going on. Everybody thinks that it's so funny. Everybody thinks that it's so cool until it's not funny and until it's not cool. Okay? When Kanye West was very clearly having a mental breakdown about like his wife leaving and getting like dual custody with the kids and that getting worked out, and somebody and somebody else being with his now like ex-wife and everything, and he was very clearly having a mental breakdown. All right, and he was very clearly things were very clearly becoming an issue. All right, but everybody laughed. Everybody was having a great time. And this is what happens. And women will talk about this all the time about how guys will act out, guys will be acting weird. But everybody thinks a lot of the shit that they do is really funny until it's not funny. He was like, because lots of people were laughing about the stuff that he did, especially when like the Avengers post that he did, and then like the post of him like holding the piece of paper and everything. Like, I'm not crazy. Whoa, look at this funny Reddit meme that I pulled up. Oh man, he's so wacky. Look at him go as he's throwing his entire family under the bus and making them into villains and dumping all of this personal information because he is literally unhinged and is off of his medicine. And it was all fun and games until it ramped up from Reddit memes to finding people's addresses and threatening to hurt them. It was all fun and games up until then. It should have been nipped in the bud instantly. There's so many women who talk about why how guys will be acting like super weird, and they'll be like, oh he's just like a little jealous, oh he's just this, oh he's just that, until it turns into stalking or something even worse. They'll downplay it and downplay it until the issues go from Snapchat stories to local news stories, okay? Until it goes from Instagram to newspaper obituaries. And everybody thinks it's funny along the way until they're like, oh, he did what? Wow, who could have seen this coming? Well, anybody who cared to pay attention saw it coming. Anybody who knows that these aren't normal actions that someone engages in knew that this was coming. A lot of women saw this coming. A lot of women played it off. A lot of men saw it coming. A lot of men played it off. Actions in these ideas don't come from anywhere. Don't come from just like out of the void or something. These men get it from somewhere. These abuse patterns come from somewhere. Feeling like you need to lash out with violence, whatever that may be, after being harmed, after being emasculated, it comes from somewhere, and it's not nowhere. And it gets reinforced by our society all of the time. Chris Rock, I don't care about Chris Rock. He could die literally today. It wouldn't mean anything to me. I never watched anything from him, and I don't really care about him. I don't. I really don't. Same for Will Smith. I don't care about him either. I truly don't. But the effect that they have on society, immeasurable. And their actions have consequences. Made a great video about the humiliation of black women in media. I think you might gain some insight into Chris's joke. I don't care about that. I know about misogyny noir. I know about all of that stuff already. I know about how black women are harmed. That's why I'm mad about this. Because people keep trying to put this up. I don't know if it's like a trauma response or something that you guys think that violence is love. I don't know what it is. I don't know if you need some therapy or anybody else, okay? I don't know what it is. But everybody like clapping along like seals about how this is something that's so brave and so good, like it's not going to have any reverberating effects on the people who you promise to protect with these actions, is insane to me. I know about that already. That's why I'm upset about this. That's why it's a problem. And that's why this needs to stop. This can't continue. We can't keep boosting this stuff up like it's going to be okay. Like this is the way that we protect these people. It's not. Honestly, I think this is a big reason why domestic abuse is so big, such a big issue such a big issue in the black community. Honestly, I really do. Like the need to jump to violence after issues is just such a massive issue, and people praising and romanticizing the idea, it gets people killed, and it's not funny. And even if they had like a long problem, this is something that could have been dealt with in private. As Will Smith put in his own words, he was emotional, irrational, and unhinged. If you trust a man like that with violence as his resort for when there's a problem, go ahead, have fun getting your shit beat. I personally am not going to stand up for it. With black women in my family, with a black sister, with women as friends that I spend a lot of time with, I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for this when men lash out, because I know they're the ones that's going to end up being harmed. And I'm not, this is gross. I don't know. There are so many big tweets that I saw of, there's specifically one talking about like Ethan from like H3H3, where he was like, we shouldn't be resorting to violence like this. It comes out to be a massive issue. And someone and the massive reply to that with like 100,000 likes was like, well, he was just protecting his woman, something that you don't know anything about. This like a disgusting framing of violence is the only way that you could protect women is just, so many women play into it too. It's incredible. So many women play into it too. I can't, it's incredible watching someone dig their own grave. And then we wonder, where does this violence come from? Why do men always turn to violence? Why do men always turn to violence? Oh, who could have seen that he was going to beat her? Oh my goodness. Here's the thing, and this is coming from someone, I'm not like not a protective person. I'm a pretty protective person, honestly. I'm quite a protective person when it comes to my friends and family. You can ask any of my like close family friends. You can ask my like a lot of my IRL friends that I've spent that I've spent time with in real life. I'm quite a protective person. I've never had to get into a fight to defend a friend or like a woman or something. The only time that I would ever need to do that is if they were like about to get beat or something. You can easily make the person who's in the wrong look even worse by being better. This is a massive thing in the black community too, okay? And like just moms in general, especially like single moms. This is a big thing, okay? Massive thing. Here's the thing, okay? Because when you're like a single mom and you're raising specifically a boy, you have two choices when it comes to how you raise that man. And both come with drawbacks and both come with benefits. And both are a very difficult choice for your man. This has been written about so much. When like the single mom is raising a boy, the two choices that she has is to raise him to be like the societal standard of just like, when you get mad, you can turn to violence, and that's how you protect. And your hierarchy is important, and be like this aggressive for self-absorbed person. And guess what? Those are the type of people who make it to be CEOs. All right. Also, those are the type of people who make it into jail. We don't really know. Okay. You don't always know, but that sort of like cutthroat, low empathy, sort of human being, especially a man, is very well respected in society. Strong, sometimes violent, low empathy for others, self-absorbed. That's big. All right. Especially in a highly capitalist society that we have. And then you could raise like, I don't want to say like a soft boy, but you could raise the Patrick Bateman. Or you could raise a much like kinder man, a much more altruistic man, much more giving person, a much kinder person who's going to treat women better and treat his colleagues better and be and be able to like to turn the other cheek and be that type of person. Society doesn't like them. We have like different names. Some people want to call them things like betas or something. Actually caring about people, less likely to make more money, sometimes more likely to have emotional distress because you actually genuinely care about people. Maybe even a higher rate of suicide, something along those lines. And that's like a big issue that a lot of people have when raising boys. And I can tell you this now, is that a lot of black moms fear that when they have a boy that he'll grow up and by the time he's even able to spread his wings, he'll end up dead or in jail because of these same attitudes that we like to push. Or he'll grow up to abuse women because of these same attitudes that we push. He should be sent to live with his auntie and uncle in Bel Air. He needs to cool off. People who are socialized to cooperate are broadly useful. Yes, they are. They can be 100%. 100%. We don't always respect those types of people. I'm just saying, what do you think? I'm just saying, like, looking at all this shit, what do you think a guy who's insecure is going to do when he sees when he sees like Will Smith getting praised for his wedding the violence? I don't know. No, hey, look at this. Assault a comedian, get away with it, huh? Ooh, and it's coming. And here it is. Here it is. Yeah, Kanye has joined the chat. And other people just reached out. I have enough money to hurt you, is what he said. Understand that this was when you were in high school. I genuinely saw people unironically, like people who didn't go to public school shows. Dog, if you haven't grown up past like high school, public school, your county high school, you need to stop tweeting. If you think that when you get into the real world, it's the real world is like your high school bathroom, your account needs to be deleted. That's what you 100% peaked in high school. Makes me feel bad how many people keep airing Jada and Will's dirty laundry. Yeah, and it spurred this on. Dude, there would be so many people just talking about Chris Rock said about Jada and black women and all of this stuff if he wouldn't have done that. He could have actually put the focus on that. And if you didn't know, and I didn't know this either, apparently this is the one and only time that that Will Smith has won an Oscar. The one and only time that he's won an Oscar. He only has one Oscar, and it's the one that he won last night. And he decided to ruin that night with his family, with the world, and set a horrible example that will lead to more women getting beat, all because he was upset in that moment. And people go on to defend it. Incredible. What I looked up, what I saw is this is the only Oscar that he has to his name. I'm taking a pic with him like nothing happened. Unhinged. They are unhinged. This is my Joker moment. I am black-pilled. Bro. Yeah, dude. You ever think about black women? You know, sometimes I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about black women, man. And I'm like, man, you know what black women need? More violence in their lives. And I'm just like, man, why haven't we thought about that? Black women need more violence in their lives. We just need to that's what they need. This is how we protect black people. Keep saying take the violence out, stop the violence. Black women need more violence. That's how they'll be protected. Oh, who could have thought? Nobody's thought about this before. Just double the violence, just more. Anytime somebody says something bad, just start shooting. Finally, we'll live up to Malcolm X's dream to be able to protect black women. Finally, more violence. That's what they need. I think about my baby cousins. I think about some of my friends. Think about my baby sister, and I'm like, oh yes, that's exactly what they need in their life. I hope that one day that they'll be able to get a man that brings more violence into their lives. That's really what they need. Get the hell out of here. Like, was the context a specific joke? No, she was just like a shaved head, and he compared her to a woman with a shaved head. No, I mean, here, I can say whatever you want to say that he was making fun of her medical condition. Like, sure. And like 100%, I mean, lots of things play into it. Like, obviously, like misogyny against specifically black women and making fun of people's medical condition. Yeah. I'm just saying for the context of his reference, it was just like, look, woman shaved head, another woman with shaved head. Now, if he compared her to like what was like the girl in The Fault in Our Stars or something, like that book was like a girl with like cancer or something, right? She was bald, right? Or something. I don't know. It was the disease she had. Okay, no, wait, I think she was bald at the end or something. I don't know. She fucking died in that book, right? I think so. I don't know. I never watched it. She had cancer. Yeah, if she compared her to like something like that, sure. It was the context. Oh, was that spoilers? She looks like she's going to die. Like, come on, let's be honest. Like, I think people can put like 2 and 2 together. The book's about like, whoa, look, it's a girl with a terminal disease and like a boy, and they're in love. Well, obviously she's gonna fucking die. It's like, I don't know. It's like watching those shows where like the protagonist gets like way too close to a character, and you're like, oh yeah, this character's 100% gonna die. Like, I never read the book, so I don't know if that's really true. I'm pretty sure she dies. She looks like she's going to die. I'll tell you that much. Defend your spouse, but defend them right. Don't beat people. Don't use violence when you don't need it. If someone's cracking jokes at you or being offensive, you don't need to hit them. You don't need to hit them. And reinforcing that you need to hit them or something will only make women's lives shorter. And will only make your life more filled with violence. That's it. That's all it does. You're not protecting anybody. You're not making the world a better place. you're making the world a worse place for yourself, for men, your women, and women in general. That's all you're doing. But sure, like I can say whatever you want to say about like the joke. I can completely understand all of that. That's fine. That's fine. And once again, I'm not against him saying anything that he wants to about all of this stuff. He could have spent, you know what? He could have spent his time thinking about and writing down some points about like misogyny. You know what? Why is it on me? Maybe Will Smith should have taken the time between him slapping, between that joke and him standing up for his Oscar, spending some time writing down some points on misogyny noir or something on his phone to talk about at his speech to shed some light on it. Instead he went up and cried about how like people are mean to him online or some shit, or like his own personal problems. How about that? How about he used his massive platform to do all of that? I'm just saying that he shouldn't have hit people and it makes the world a worse place. He didn't care to do that. Even he would have roasted Chris from the audience, it would have been good enough. Honestly, is The Fault in Our Stars really 10 years old? Can Jada speak for herself? I love speaking for women. It's probably the thing I love to do most of the time, especially if they're my significant other. I love speaking for them. It makes me so happy. She can speak for herself, but I want to speak for her too. It's our voice, babe.